everybody. Welcome to the Sports Bros World. This is our fantasy baseball podcast. Although we're probably not going to talk much fantasy baseball today. With March Madness taking over the world, I am Timbo Slice. I am here with Sage. How are you doing today, kind sir?
Doing pretty good. Nice day. I think it's officially spring. I'm not a meteorologist, but whatever. In Colorado, that doesn't mean anything, but hopefully it stays sunny for a while.
Well, luckily, you don't need to be a meteorologist. All you need is a calendar, and it'll tell you when the first day of spring was. And coincidentally, it was yesterday. So yes.
I knew I heard something about that, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the sun. So that's what I was referring to. I guess not meteorologist, just a scientist in general.
Yeah, okay. That's why we talk sports, people. That's why we talk sports. All right, quick rundown of the show today. Oh, actually, got to get to the main stuff first. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Bros World. You've already found our YouTube page. Congratulations. Click subscribe and catch it every week. And, of course, go to sportsbrosworld.com where we attempt to keep a website up to date on a daily basis. A day late on the podcast today simply because March Madness taking over the world. In case you didn't know, I am from the great state of Kansas. Sage originally is from Kansas, but he lives in Colorado now. And KU had the early game at 11:15 Central Time, so we passed on doing a Friday podcast. We'll hit the off day here on Saturday, and then brace for the world coming to an end as Wichita State will play KU in the tournament. That is, yeah, not to spend too much time on that, but that's the biggest sporting event for the state of Kansas in probably the history of Kansas.
Well, I don't know about stretching it that far, but it is.
Name anything that's ever been considered close.
Well, I would consider even, 6 months ago when the Royals were playing in the World Series to be close to that. I mean, come on. This is an NCAA tournament game, I get that, but these two teams, there's only bitterness on one end, and that's Wichita State's end. KU could care less. They've reeled off championships, and, in all honesty, it's
Really, you're going to make me defend Wichita State here? I'm as big a KU fan as there is, and you're going to make me defend Wichita State here.
I know you're a big KU fan. I will just say this. This is like Ralphie getting the hell beat out of him in the Christmas Story. Year after year after year. And it's to the point where KU just basically said, I'm not even going to beat the crap out of you anymore. I'm not even going to allow it to happen. And so they have denied Wichita State a game for years. And now Ralphie is coming around the corner saying, hey, I'm ready to fight again. And I'm just saying, that's my reference to this. I think
Ralphie's in college now. And
Ralphie is in college now.
And if he looks anything like the Wichita State mascot, he's been taking an awful lot of steroids. That is the most roided out bushel of wheat you'll ever see in your entire life. Ever.
That's some GMO wheat there, definitely. So
it's not organic, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get to that here in a minute when we go through some March Madness stuff. But basically, rundown of the show today, we're going to hit the injuries and news of the MLB and some spring training stuff, and then we're going to make some predictions for Cy Young, Comeback Player of the Year, and MVP in each league. And then we'll break down our brackets, tell you how bad we're doing, and go from there. And we'll probably call it a day after that. Got about 45 minutes today with us, so enjoy your time. All right, so the big injury news in the MLB was very early in the week. I think it was on Monday. Zach Wheeler will get Tommy John surgery, and obviously done for the year. The other thing, I actually saw this morning on the Twitter, was Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez might be DHing as early as tomorrow. So that's a good sign if you want to see them on opening day. obviously once you get to the regular season, they're not going to let them have two DHs. But as Sage pointed out to me before the show, if they're going to give Will Ferrell an at bat, then they're going to let the Tigers use two DHs if they want. I'm guessing. I don't
Very,
know.
very true.
I don't know. I don't. I don't know how these spring training games always work, but whatever. Did you watch that Will Ferrell thing? Did you pay
Yeah,
attention to it all day?
I watched only a little bit of it live, but I got all the highlights, of course, along with the rest of the world, and you know, it's pretty interesting. I found it pretty funny. In saying that, the baseball side of me hopes that he didn't steal an at bat from some young guy that has never had one in spring training. But it's good entertainment. It brought the entertainment world into baseball, and I'm sure a few fans that wouldn't have watched it did. So that is a good thing. But hopefully, no one's at bats or playing time got stolen because of that. That's my only issue with it.
Yeah. And I didn't. I was at work all day. I worked 2:30 to 11, so I mean that was through the bulk of it. I think it started around 1 or whatever local time,
Yeah.
Central Time. But from what I noticed, he was like playing center field for the Angels, second base for the Mariners, catcher for the Giants. So I don't think he took any. I mean, he was playing where the Stars were playing. So
Yeah, for the
I,
most part. Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
And, hopefully that wasn't the case. I didn't look too detailed into it, but it was, it got national headlines. And for a game that happened in early March, or a set of games that happened in early March, there was probably more fans watching those games than normal. So that's good for baseball there.
well, and then obviously it was for a charity, Kill Cancer,
Yeah,
Strike Out Cancer, and then there's a documentary that they're making. So
that's pretty cool. I love the if you actually look up, he has a stat page now, a career stat page, and it shows that he literally has played every position, and he's played for like 15 teams, and it shows the actual trades. Like he was traded for like a corn dog, a a microwave, random things like that. So that was kind of funny.
yeah, and the MLB teams do a pretty good job on Twitter of being funny and entertaining and
Oh
stuff, and
yeah. Yeah.
they were of course just having a ball with it. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. All right, so that's it for the Will Ferrell and the MLB. Well, any other news that you can think of, or you have written down or anything?
Um, I've watched a decent amount of spring training games now, and the biggest thing I try to find those guys that are doing pretty well that get sent down. That's the guys to keep an eye on. I know it sounds funny, but listen,
It
these are
does sound pretty funny.
the guys that get sent down right about this time of the month. They're getting sent down to AAA, and if they continue to play decent after the arbitration, the Rule 6 or whatever it is, they're going to be called back up. And this usually happens the beginning of June, I believe. And it's like 60 games in or something like that. I forget. But those are the guys that are going to be impacting the, dog days of summer. So I like to, at least keep those guys under my hat, and those are potential guys that are going to be keepers in leagues and stuff like that. So something to look at,
Well,
check that list off.
arbitration is actually a contractual issue.
Not arbitration. I'm thinking of no, it's the if they have a young player and he is
Super 2.
signed
You're thinking of the Super 2.
Super 2. There you go. Okay, couldn't
Yeah.
think of the rule, but yeah. So that rule comes into effect, I believe. I think it's like June 8th or something like that. Normally, but those
Well,
are the guys that are going to affect the middle of the year.
the first thing is Chris Bryant. I think they have to wait. If a team waits 12 days to call him up, then they get an extra year of contract or team control, I think, and then it's like the middle of June or early June. is the Super 2 rule, where they get an extra year of arbitration. So that's
Yeah.
it's allegedly discount, but I've seen some of the arbitration numbers can get up there. So I don't understand what the big damn deal is. Just call them up and start playing some games. Especially the Cubs situation is kind of like Mike Olt, who's going to hit 220, or Chris Bryant, who might hit 40 home runs.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but whatever.
Yeah, and the Cubs are going to regret not having him up for 12 games if they miss the playoffs by one.
I hope they do.
know?
I hope they miss the playoffs by one game. I hope they miss it by one game, and it's because Mike Olt went 3 for 38 in those 12 games. That's what I hope. Then maybe these stupid teams will start thinking about, oh, hey, let's get these guys up because these guys are good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It's a stupid rule and it needs to be changed, I think.
Yeah, I'm angry about that today. I'm a little fired up today. This bracket's taking over my world. All I've done the last 2 days is basketball and brackets and cross teams off and circle them, and it's been nutty. Anyways, so let's get to our predictions here. Cy Young Award. It can be a layup or there can be a surprise. I'm actually taking the layups here, Sage. I'm taking Kershaw in the NL and King Felix in the AL. Who you got?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to go with the layups just because inevitably I feel like the top two in each league, it never works out that they win Cy Youngs,
Well, yeah,
But
true. That's a good point.
so in saying that, though, I said that about the NCAA tournament a few years ago. The one seeds never make it to the Final Four, and then it happened. So you never know. But all the one seeds, I should say. And so I'm going to go – I'll do the layup in the AL. I'm going with King Felix. I really think he's going to have an awesome year. He's going to finally be on a team that can actually do some damage. And I'm not taking the layup with Kershaw in the NL. I'm going with Max Scherzer. I like the fact he's a dominating pitcher going from the American League to the National League. And I think, facing that pitcher for 2 or 3 times is going to up his stats even more. So, yeah, I think he may reel off 20-plus wins, too. So I have him in the NL.
Huh, right on. My doorbell just rang, so that's kind of weird. Random thing there. I'm not going to answer it, though. I'm not leaving you, Sage. I'm staying right here.
All right. Well, that's a good thing.
If
I'm
I was a betting man, I would say that it's a roof salesman. We got some rain. We got some rain the other day, so the roof salesmen are all over the damn place. Anyways, no, I think Kershaw is going to win the Cy Young every year until he retires. I just think he's that good. And, yeah, Felix is probably win 20, 22 games. So I don't know how you deny him. And Kluber, I'm not saying Kluber was a fluke, but he's not Felix, I don't think. And he's good, but I don't think he's Felix. I don't know if you'll see the dominant performance year in and year out from him.
Well, I don't think he is back-to-back MVP good, or Cy Young good, I should say.
Right.
I think he's a really solid pitcher, and, for anyone that's in a keeper league, you should definitely keep him if you haven't already. Hashtag me. And gotta love that hashtag. So, but yeah, I don't see. I think Felix is, heck, he won it with 16 wins? I don't even remember. It was something real low here. So he dominates even without winning, and then you throw the W's in there that he's going to get this year. I think it's going to be too much to deny him.
All right. So when people use the word hashtag and then actually say a hashtag, they make up their own hashtags during mid-conversation. It reminds me of 2 things, actually. One, the conversation part. I was at the local drinking establishment a few days ago, and this guy walked in, and I knew him, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And in mid conversation, he goes, "Dude, I'm McDrunk." I was like, "Did you just say McDrunk in everyday conversation?" I didn't know that people would actually do that. I thought that was weird. And then I saw a picture on Twitter yesterday that had a lady in her probably 30s or 40s. I don't know. She was talking on her cell phone, but she still had her selfie stick
Oh,
attached to it.
wow.
And if those aren't signs of the apocalypse thrown in with KU playing Wichita State in the tournament, this might be our last show. I mean, it's could be over, Sage. I don't know. All right, sorry to get off on that little tangent.
That's all right. So we
um,
got MVP next.
MVP. Yeah, why don't you go first on this?
Well, I did take another layup in the AL. I just don't see anybody outdoing Mike Trout. I think the Angels are going to have a good year, and he's got some good bats around him. So what can you say? He plays good defense too. My NL pick is a little, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a layup, but I'm going with Buster Posey. I think he's going to be back to his dominance again. He's
In
clearly
an
the
odd
best
year?
catcher. What's that?
In an odd year?
Well, this is what I'm saying. He's going to have a dominating performance, but I don't think San Francisco is necessarily going to have a dominating performance. I think they'll be in playoff contention, and I think he's going to lead the way. So statistically, I think he's going to win it.
I just think it would be a weird situation to have a player win the MVP that's coming off of a World Series that doesn't make the playoffs. I think that would be a weird situation to have that person voted in as the MVP.
Well, who you got in the NL then?
I have I have Troy Tulowitzki. I have him staying healthy for 148 games and hitting 310 and hitting 33 home runs, driving in 110, and taking Colorado to a 70 and 92 record. But I think that the world is going to be so shocked that he plays in 148 games, and he's going to be so good that he's going to be your MVP.
So you're bashing my all-star, former MVP catcher on a team that's probably going to win 85 games pick, but you're taking super injury-prone shortstop for a team that's not going to have a chance at the playoffs, I think. So either way, I think we're both out on a limb there. So,
Hey,
so
man.
yeah.
Someday, Troy Tulowitzki's going to make it through a whole season. Someday. And
You
when
know
he
what?
does, he's going to
And
be
I
an
will
MVP
pick him.
candidate.
I will pick him number one in softball, fantasy baseball, 2019.
What is
when he's
softball
playing.
fantasy baseball? I don't even know what that is. Is that a real thing?
It's fantasy softball. He's going to be playing in a league with his son when he's 45, and he's going to be MVP of that league and be healthy for every game.
Yeah. Maybe, because they'll probably be smart and put him at first base.
Chugging a beer at first, yeah.
My favorite position in fantasy softball, or, well, I don't even know why it's fantasy softball. It's softball, is first base coach. That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you definitely are a part of the game there and telling them to steal and all that good stuff.
Well, no, you can't steal in softball, but
That's
well,
my
slow
point.
pitch softball. But but here's the deal: you get all the perks of being the third base coach without making any decisions. I mean, it's perfect. You're in the game. You get to talk to everybody makes it to first base in softball. Not everybody makes it to third base. So you
True.
get to talk to everybody, and then you don't have to make the decisions of sending them or holding them.
I personally love the rover because if you've ever played rover position,
I have, and it sucks.
it's like an extreme free safety. They expect you to back up first, third, home, second. You're basically the fourth center fielder or the fourth outfielder. Um, you're pretty much covering everything, and you're never out of position. That's the great part about it.
Here's my here's my Rover story, and so I'm right out of high school. I went to college and come back. I think I was 19 or whatever, and had just retired from baseball. I played half of a semester in college. That's how good I was. But so I come home, and that summer, my dad's like, "Hey, do you want to, play on our slow pitch softball team?" I was like, "Yeah, that'll be fun." And my dad, who at the time was like in his early 40s, and all of his teammates were in their early to mid 40s. And I was like, "Okay, what position do you want me to play? I can play in the outfield." And they're like, "Yeah, why don't you be Rover?" And one of the greatest workouts of my life. I was
Yeah.
running all over the place. Because these 40-year-old men are like, we got a hot shot 19-year-old, full energy. So a ball was hit to the outfield, and these old bastards wouldn't even move. They just like, ball right at him. All right, I'm not moving, so I hope the Rover comes and gets it. I hate Rover. Worst experience of my life. Sorry.
All right. Last one, we got a comeback player of the year. These aren't kind of layups because they're mostly injury guys or guys that had bad years, but who do you got?
Easy layup here, Prince Fielder. 30 home runs, probably driving 100 runs. And then in the NL, I have another Colorado Rocky. I have Carlos Gonzalez.
Yeah. According to your predictions here, Colorado's going to win like 95 games, by the way. But
No, they're only going to win 70, but they have two outstanding players. So
touche. I'm going to go with Fielder as well. That is pretty easy layup. I think he's going to have, at the very least, a decent year, which is much better than his last year. So, and in the NL, I'm going with Matt Harvey. I think coming off Tommy John, they rested him. They did everything you're supposed to as a club, prepared him for this year. He's going to be their ace. Even more pressure now with Wheeler's injury. And I think he's going to go out there and spot his fastball and probably win 15 games. So
cool. They're going to have him on an innings limit, too. I don't know if you knew about that.
Yeah, I think they'll throw that out the window if they're in contention, though, to be honest.
Okay.
I really don't, down the stretch, if they're contending for the wild card, or I doubt they're going to contend for the division, but the wild card, I don't think they're going to be like, yeah, I think we'll roll out random six-starter over Matt Harvey. I don't see that.
Huh. Okay. All right.
So I wanted to go over one other thing. Fantasy baseball wise, this is brought to you by our brothers at fantasypros.com.
Oh, yeah. It's good stuff.
This is the overvalued and undervalued players. Now, how this works, overvalued, they rank all the players from a consensus of several different rankings. And
pros, if you will.
Yeah, they put it into their system and rank them all. So according to that, this is guys being drafted well above that. Number one on the board is Zach Britton. He has 49 slots.
These are overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Okay, gotcha.
Starting with the overrated guys here. 49 spots above where he should be, according to them.
Wow.
Number two on the list is your good old buddy, Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
46 spots above what they think.
Your 57th ranked pitcher?
I don't know. Well, he's ranked 178 overall, and he's being drafted at 132 on average. After that, we got a few closers. We got Houston Street and Drew Storen, both 43 slots above where they're supposed to be. Then Tanaka, 29 spots, and Jansen at 28 spots. Those are your overvalued players according to where they're drafted versus the consensus rankings.
Where are these closers getting drafted at? What pick?
Uh, Houston Street on average is 113. Uh,
Okay. Wow.
Zach Britton was 130, and Storin was 131.
So like the ninth, 10th, 11th round.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, that closer run shouldn't really start until the 12th.
yeah.
Just in my
Especially for
opinion.
guys that are not considered like the top three closers, you know.
Well, yeah, and those guys are
So
probably going to go in 6, 7, 8. I'm
yeah.
guessing.
So the next one is the undervalued guys. These are guys you should be drafting well before they are currently being drafted, and Yahoo, ESPN, all of them. Number one on the list is Brandon Belt. He is consensus ranked 135th, and his average draft position is 197.
Wow.
62 spots. Uh,
That's value right there.
yeah, that's value. Then Eric Hosmer is next on the
Yeah.
list. 55 spots, Kansas City Royal.
55.
Then, and all these are outfielders except for Belt, by the way. We
And
got
Hosmer.
Brett Gardner. Oh, and Hosmer, sorry. Brett Gardner, who is 42 spots away from where he should be. Jason Worth is 37. Alex Gordon is 35. And Marcel Oznia. Am I saying that right?
No, you're not. Sound it out. Come on. Let's go.
Oz-
Marcel, you got that part right. The last name's easy.
Ozuna.
No,
No?
it's a long O.
Ozuna.
Oh, you're throwing in an extra sound there. Ozuna.
Ozuna. Whatever. 34th spot. They have him, actually, the lowest guy on here,
You're like a
consensus
child.
ranking.
You know that? You're like a child.
Yeah. Consensus ranking wise, Alex Gordon, they have at 70. And he's being drafted at 105. And yeah, so mostly it's going to be outfielders, mainly because outfield is loaded. But I just wanted to go through the top. Actually, those are the top six guys, over and under. So the biggest thing we can learn from this is outfielders is loaded, and
And you can
basically
wait.
closers. Yeah, closers are guys that are being drafted too early. So keep that in mind. And Justin Verlander.
True or false? You put that whole thing together just to make fun of me and Justin Verlander.
No, no, I really did. I put it together and then realized Justin Verlander was on there, and I just had to highlight that.
Okay, and where is Verlander being drafted at? I forgot what you said there.
He is consensus ranked 178. He's being drafted at 132.
Okay, so I will not take him at 132. I promise. I promise. I might take him before that. Honestly, I don't.
Of course,
I don't know. I'm
because
kidding.
his 20 pounds of muscle is going to enhance his fastball. So
Yeah. I like to draft happy guys, and if you're dating Kate Upton, you're a happy person.
that is very true. I think she
So,
may be the only one benefiting from that extra muscle, but just saying.
yeah, it's certainly possible. All right,
Anyway, I guess it's NCAA tourney time.
it sure is. How's your bracket looking? What's your record?
Counting the play-in games,
We
I
don't.
have. Okay, you don't.
No,
Well
they
then,
don't count.
not counting the play-in games, I have 22 wins of the 32. So
Nice. I got
it's not
20. I'm
horrible,
20 and 12.
and I've only lost two teams that I had in the Sweet 16. So that's good.
That's pretty solid. That is pretty
Yeah.
solid. I have lost 4 Sweet 16 teams, but I have all of my Elite Eights, so that's pretty good.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, the Sweet
Um,
16 teams I had losing, didn't have going to the Sweet 16. That I had them losing in the Sweet 16, which was Baylor and Iowa State. So I kind of cut my losses a little there. So hopefully, you know, no one bleeds through my bracket here, but obviously there's been a lot of crazy upsets, especially day one of the tournament.
I'm gonna hold mine up. Tell me if you can see it just fine. Can you see it?
You need to back it up a lot, but yeah, I can
Okay.
see it.
Okay. There we go. Is that better?
You need to go up now.
Oh. All right. There we go. Anyways, we're not just blowing smoke. We actually have brackets. Though there's this guy in this obviously free pool for charity because it's illegal to play for money. Obviously, but a guy in that pool went 28-4 through the first through the first round, which is incredible. I mean, that is incredible. But he has Iowa State as his national champion. So how angry would you be, Sage, if you went like 28-4, but you lost your national champion first thing Thursday morning? I mean, that was the second or third game of the day
Yeah,
of the team.
that's pretty horrible. I mean, no matter what he does, he's probably not going to win his office pool because of that. You
Right.
know, and that sucks. I've been in that situation. Well, not that exact situation, but like I was leading after the first week or the first two sets of games here, the round of 32, and but I had my national champion or like two of the four final four teams out,
Right.
and you're like, oh well, that's great. I can brag for a day, you know.
Well, but I mean, like, all right, so you're watching basketball, you got your bracket out, and third game of the tournament on Thursday,
That
the national
sucks.
champions playing, they lose. The first thing you do is you either crumple it up and throw it away, or you get a lighter out and you light it on fire. It's one or the other. So he has no idea that he is absolutely destroying it right now.
That's a
He
very good point.
he gave up. He's done. That bracket's in the trash. But he's 28-4. So good job, buddy.
So, in saying that, who you got in your final four and your champion?
A lot of chalk for me this year. I got Kentucky beating Arizona in one Final Four, and Duke beating Villanova in the other Final Four, and then Kentucky beating Duke.
Well, we both took the layup here. Kentucky is my champion as well. Um, I have Kentucky beating Wisconsin.
The
Uh,
Scotties?
Wisconsin beating Arizona in the Elite Eight too. So I went back and forth on that one for a while,
Yeah,
but that may be the best game of the tournament, to be honest. In my other Final Four, I have Gonzaga finally
nice.
making it,
Bold
and
move, Cotton.
Louisville. I have Louisville winning the East.
Ooh,
I don't like
hey.
Villanova. Uh,
Louisville barely escaped yesterday.
I know I had to pick. You can't go with all the favorites. You know that. You had to pick some upsets, and I don't know. I like the way they ended the regular season, but obviously it scared the hell out of me yesterday. So,
I actually had
and,
Wyoming defeating Louisville in the next round.
wow.
Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that game
Yeah.
because Wyoming didn't do what I thought that they could have done.
Well, I think, and then by the way, I got Louisville beating Gonzaga, Kentucky beating Wisconsin, and then Kentucky winning the championship. Um,
Wow.
but in saying that, good things from my bracket. The Midwest, I got everything right except for Purdue. I had Purdue winning, Cincinnati beat them. The 8-9 always sucks. Yeah, it is literally a coin flip. It is that game is so close all the time. Um, but anyway, my others, I missed a few here and there. Nothing crazy. Like I said, I had Iowa State going to Sweet 16, but losing there, and I had Baylor going to Sweet 16 and losing there. That's the extent of my damage. How about you?
Well, it's pretty common to pick the wrong upsets.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at this bracket on Wednesday when I was filling it out, and I'm like, God, the Big 12 has three 3 seeds. That is incredible. One of them's going to lose. One of them is,
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing it right now, one of them's going to lose. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Baylor's been playing pretty well. They're probably going to win. Iowa State just won the Big 12 tournament. I'm not picking them to lose. So I take Albany to beat Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, naturally, is the only Big 12 3 seed to win.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't understand that at all. And so then I had Albany beating Providence to go to the Sweet 16 because I didn't think Providence was all that good. They proved that last night when they lost to Dayton. So that's my big hiccup. And then I had Wyoming going to the Sweet 16, a little tribute to
Ouch.
me and Sage in our early 20s.
Oh,
and,
man.
Sage topping toe.
Yeah.
3-time Heisman Trophy winner.
We had, what was it? NCAA football 2004. We ran through like a dynasty thing. And, yeah, it was. We took a crappy team and tried to make them into a dynasty, and we did.
It was a success.
Tim had his guy he made up play defense. I had the guy I made up play offense, and it was very interesting. And yeah, the Cowboys did pretty awesome, but that was all make believe. In real life, it was a different story.
It sure was yesterday, that's for sure. Wyoming just couldn't get it done.
One thing I will say about this, the play-in games were in Dayton, and Dayton was a part of the play-in games. So I knew Boise State wasn't going to survive that. I just didn't think they had a shot. So I picked Dayton there, and I thought they'd be on a high and beat Providence. So I actually have them beating Providence, and I have them beating Albany, who I picked as well.
Nice.
So hopefully Dayton pulls off the win versus Oklahoma for me.
Yeah.
And you, I guess, too.
I'm rooting for you. I mean, I don't care. Well, yeah, obviously, now that, the juggernaut Albany has been defeated, I want Oklahoma to lose because, and this
It
is
stopped the bleeding.
This is just a strategy thing that I try to go off of every year. Know where you live. I live in Wichita, Kansas, the dead center of Big 12 country. From the original Big 12, there's 6 teams to the south of me and 6 teams to the north of me. Dead center. And everybody in every bracket thing I've ever done in this state has Big 12 teams just going all over the place.
Yeah.
So, like, that guy has Iowa State winning the national title. I looked at his bracket because it's online, and he's got Iowa State beating Kansas. What kind of a fairy tale does that guy live in? I don't understand why you would ever do that. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm guessing he has Oklahoma going a long ways. I'm guessing he has West Virginia beating Maryland and Oregon or Oklahoma State knocking off Wisconsin or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
So I need Oklahoma to get their asses beat and hopefully pretty quickly.
Well, and it's like that everywhere. You live in the, northern Midwest, you're going to be a Big Ten guy. You live in the Northeast, you're going to be a Big East guy. You live in, middle of the Eastern Seaboard there, you're going to be an ACC guy. It's just how it is. But
where do people in Colorado put all their marbles? Because I'm looking at this bracket and I just don't see any teams from Colorado.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, there's a lot of Buffalo fans here, but it's not a big basketball state in general. I would say, if anything, they kind of either go Pac-10 or Big Ten,
Wow.
So, in saying that, though, most of the teams from both of those conferences are not too great. So, it's definitely more of a football-oriented state than it is basketball, but
right.
Yeah. In saying that, it's not. I loved picking pools in Kansas because, I'm not a diehard KU fan or K-State or Wichita State. I like to see all of them succeed to a degree because it's a prideful thing. But I loved picking against them because one, it
Right.
pissed everybody off, and two, you knew like these guys were gonna pick ridiculous stuff, and they're not picking with their brain, they're picking with their heart, and yeah,
Bet your heart, lose
so
your ass.
exactly. But yeah, it's always fun. I love all the upsets. I hope there's plenty more. But I don't see anybody beating Kentucky. I think they're a really good team. They're, I think, the most talented team in college basketball. I don't think many would dispute with that.
Right.
And I think they're playing their best right now. They're starting to get that ball rolling, and it's kind of a downhill slide from the one seed. Once you get that momentum, you just start conquering everybody.
Yeah, they really took care of Hampton. They really looked good in that game.
Well, I think most teams would, but
I'm just,
I'm saying the way they ended the regular season and all that good stuff.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I just don't think there's anybody that can really. I thought, all year the only team that, well, there's only two teams that really can hang with them, and I think it's Duke and Arizona. I think Arizona is the second best team in the country, actually. But that being said, I think that they hopefully will get a chance to play both of them, just so we can see really. I want Kentucky to play the toughest, route,
Yeah,
just to prove it. You know what I mean? So they get probably. I hope they get Maryland, and then I think Notre Dame is the other good team, the other team that might give them the best game in that region, and then Arizona and Duke. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
It
I don't
should
know
be
anything about college basketball, so
different. But in saying all that, I just love the tournament. It's the best tournament in sports, I think, and it's fun to
absolutely.
watch. So I'm not a huge college basketball fan, but it's definitely something fun to watch.
All right, so did you have WSU beating Indiana?
Yes,
Did you have Kansas beating New Mexico State?
yes.
Okay, who did you have winning Kansas versus Wichita State?
Well, a prelude to this for our earlier conversation. I think Ralphie's finally pissed off enough that he's going to just beat the hell out of the big bully. I pick Wichita State to win.
Wow. See, I took Wichita State to win because nothing to do with the Christmas story. I uh, I thought, you know what? I want Kansas to beat the holy hell out of Wichita State so bad that it makes Greg Marshall take another job. I mean, that's how bad I want KU to win this game. So I took Wichita State because if Wichita State wins, I at least get something out of the deal. You know what I mean? So
True.
and then, but yeah, I want KU to win by 60 to 80 points. I want to run them out of the gym by halftime. Um, I'm not I'm not a person that roots for bullies by any stretch of the imagination. However, I live in Wichita,
Yeah.
and I cannot stand the majority of Wichita State fans. Just can't stand them. They are
Well,
such tools.
you've only had to deal with them for the last like 6, 7 years, so
This is
keep that.
true. This is true. And you're also talking to a guy who worked in a sports bar for a long time,
Yeah.
since '01, and I never saw any Wichita State fan come out for a game ever until 2006, and they didn't even show up for the first round game. They showed up for their second round game against Tennessee when they, got to advance to the Sweet 16. But ever since then, oh yeah, of course, they're everywhere now. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give them credit. I even went to games in the '90s when they were just brutal. I mean, terrible, just a terrible
Yeah.
basketball team, and they would still sell out the Roundhouse. So, I mean, I know there's fans out there, but never ever saw them support their team at a bar or whatever until they go to the Sweet 16. So,
Yeah.
and now, I mean, if you go, oh man, some of the
Any
battles I
bar
would have with
back,
these people.
sure. Yeah.
I remember Oklahoma was playing a bowl game, I think, the Sugar Bowl or something. This is 4 or 5 years ago, and Wichita State was playing like, I don't know, Illinois State or some crap Missouri Valley team, and I literally get into an argument with this Wichita State fan about volume on the game at the bar. I'm like, no, it's gonna be on this major bowl game. Wichita State can, you can go home and watch it. You know,
Yeah,
and just having conversations like that over and over with Wichita State fans because Wichita State's so good now. Like I
yeah.
just I hate it. It made me very bitter. So plus I've always been a Kansas fan and I just want them to stomp the mud hole in them.
But you pick against them.
Well, yeah, I got to get something out of the deal. I mean, how
True.
devastated would I be if Kansas lost and I had Kansas winning?
Yeah,
You
true.
know what I mean? Or at
But
least
you're
I can say, well, I knew Wichita State was going to win because I picked them in my bracket. I would much
yeah.
rather lie and say that than what actually might happen.
Well,
No, but
yeah,
but but I do agree with you on the Ralphie thing. The chip on WSU's shoulder is going to be like a boulder. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and I as a Red Sox fan, I saw this for years with the Yankees. It was they got close, and it just never happened. And then in '04, when it did happen, it was just I mean, you look back in 2004 at the ALCS Game 7, it was like a minor league team versus a major league team. The Red Sox were so jacked for that game that it wasn't even close. I mean, and I think it was that kind of Ralphie syndrome. Eventually, the bully's just going to get its ass kicked, and it's bound to happen,
yeah.
And I think this not only has a big chip on WSU's shoulders, but it's going if they win, then they have that chip saying, "Hey, now you can play us for a reason." Because KU has ignored them for years. Like, why do we want to play Missouri Valley team? You know, and this will give Wichita State that little incentive, saying, "Hey, we beat you in the tournament. Why don't you prove it in the regular season?"
And Kansas
And
can be like, nah, we're cool.
well,
We
they
don't.
could, yeah, but
They have a tough schedule every year. Why would they want to add Wichita State? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I hate to sound
it,
like the arrogant KU fan here, but it will never make sense. Either Wichita State's going to be terrible, and they'll still have to come to Wichita every other year, or Wichita State's going to be good, and it'll be a bad loss for KU and a resume builder for Wichita
yeah,
State. It'll just never make sense. So
yeah.
I'm fine with it happening every 35 years or whatever. I don't care.
Well, KU is currently 12-2 versus Wichita State all time. So there you
Yeah.
go.
But in all seriousness, this town may burn to the ground because there's no K-State fans are pretty hard to find this time of year. I mean, really, they
Yeah,
are. During football season, of course, they're everywhere, but this time of year, they're pretty hard to find. So you're either Wichita State or Kansas. There's no middle ground. You're one or the other, and it's gonna be pretty intense around here. So
yeah,
I can't wait.
yeah. So I guess that's it for our NCAA talk. We delved into our brackets a little bit, and we'll update them, of course, next week. We're in between games here. Obviously, this is happening on Saturday, so we still got a little bit of the weekend,
Oh,
but
actually, the game's just started.
games just started. Yeah, so but back to important fantasy stuff. I guess this isn't fantasy, but if you don't know, I am a diehard Red Sox fan, and Tim pointed out something before the show. I didn't even really think about it.
Sure,
Just threw it
whatever.
on. But I have my, if you can see here, A Rod Slaps Balls shirt,
You're gonna
which
have
is
to
referring.
you're gonna have to hold it up for like 10 seconds while you're talking, and I'll try not to say anything.
All right, here we go.
Outstanding. That is
So
outstanding.
A-Rod slaps balls, of course, referring to the 2004 ALCS, which we've already talked about. Hashtag Ralphie. So, best hashtag ever. And a shout out to Bronson Arroyo, who had the ball slapped away from him. And it was all in the motion of running, of course, if you didn't see A-Rod doing that. So, more reason to remind everybody that despite his lovable characteristics lately and the fact that the Yankees are basically pushing him to the back of the bench, A-Rod's an arrogant prick that cheats. Just put it out there. So I love fantasy baseball, and I might draft him. No, I might pick him up as a backup third baseman, but I don't like guys that slap balls. What can I say?
Hey, he slapped a home run earlier this week. Just want to throw that out there. And he's hitting 270. He's hitting 270 in the spring.
What did I tell you?
It's about 125 points higher than I expected, but he's hitting 270 with a home run.
It's about 270 points higher than the Yankees wanted, too. So
roughly, right around there.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, he's forcing the hand of the Yankees. He's making Chase Headley not look that great, and you know, minus the steroids, that is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and you can't push him to the back of your bench forever. He's gonna hit if you give him opportunity. So
he's also 38 years old, so you can push him to the back of the bench if you want.
You can push him to DH.
I'm just saying. First ballot Hall of Famers aren't always good when they're 38. I'm just throwing that out there.
Very true.
Not always. Not always. All right, man. You got anything else you want to talk about today? We've gone way over the time limit. Just want to mention that.
Yeah. Naturally, we, dabble into everything, but no, I think we covered about everything. Next week, we're going to do our updated predictions for what's really going to happen in real baseball as far as who's winning the World Series and all that. So look for that next week. And we'll probably talk a little bit about our draft, which is tomorrow in the league we're playing together. So.
Totally forgot to get to that. Oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's we'll go over it a little bit. That's fine. I don't want to give away any of my secrets. So.
Well, and actually, when we talk about how popular our league is to all of our viewers, if you consider that me and you are the only two viewers, everybody is impacted. I mean, 100% of our audience wants to talk about the 6704 fantasy baseball draft. 100%.
Very true.
So I don't know if we want to give the people what they want, or if we should just wait till next week to talk about it. It's up to you.
Yeah, let's hold off. We'll do kind of a draft review and go over any surprises from the draft we had between us two. Any picks that we can make fun of each other with. But other than that, yeah, I mean, be smart on your draft. Don't start trends. Don't start runs. Be at the back end of them or the middle of them.
I want to start runs. I'm going to start runs just for you, Sage.
I don't like starting runs because you go out on a limb, and if that guy doesn't perform or gets hurt, you're screwed. And the guy that waited is the guy looking great, so.
That's a discussion when we have more time. I'm not saying I enjoy starting runs, but I'm also not going to wait for someone to start a run. Never mind. I don't even want to get into it.
Well, okay, there's exceptions to the rule. Obviously, if you want a solid catcher and no one's drafted him, you're not going to be like, I'm not waiting, I'll just keep letting Buster Posey slide on by, if Buster Posey is available in the 12th round, you're an idiot to take him,
By the way, it's 18-13 UAB over UCLA. So on that note, Let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's watch some basketball.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week. Go to sportsbursworld.com. Follow us on Twitter. Check out all of our videos on our YouTube channel, and please subscribe. Adios, amigo.
Thanks.